Welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this edition of Diecast Emporium. Today we're going to take a look at another Diecast Masters model. In this case, it is a Highline Series edition. It's the CAT 740B EJ Articulated Dump Truck. It's item number 85500, and it is 1:50 scale. As it is part of their Highline Series, it does come in the collectible tin, which we all like to take a look at. As you see on the side, it does have a nice high-res photo of the model. Interestingly enough to note, it has a picture of the model without Bob, but as this was one of the first Highline Series models released by Diecast Masters, unfortunately, Bob is permanently affixed to the cab of this truck. You cannot remove him unless, of course, you want to physically do it yourself by modifying the model. And again, I always do not recommend that because you destroy the value long-term of your model. On top of the tin, again, you have another nice picture of the truck. There's your item number, your scale, and of course your description. On the back of the tin, as always, there is your specification details of the real truck and another great picture of it at work. Here's what I think is pretty funny, is that you have a picture of the real-life Bob. It's got his correct hat, his high-vis jacket in the right color. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. All right, onwards with the model review. So a little bit about the model. The 740B EJ was originally produced by Norscott about 6 or 7 years ago, and it was one of the first models that Diecast Masters re-released, updated, whatever you want to call it, when they took over the license, the sole license to produce CAT models in the end of 2015, start of 2016-ish. So it is an older model by today's standards, which means that you can currently get it from your favorite Diecast Masters distributor. So it doesn't quite have the highest level of detail that we come to expect from today's models, so bear that in mind as we go over the review, but it is still a very, very solid casting. So if you're not familiar, ejector trucks work differently than standard dump trucks in several different ways, but the most significant way is that many of you know, but many of you don't, so I'll go over this for those that don't work in the construction industry that watch this channel. Standard dump trucks get rid of their load, of course, by the bed dumping that way. Ejector trucks have the advantage of achieving faster cycle times. They can unload their cargo on the move. They can operate in height-restricted areas, and they reduce the risk of a machine turnover because they eject their load, for lack of a better term, by using an ejector mechanism. So the tailgate folds down, and this slides to the rear, and all the material simply slides out the back without the need for the bed to fold upward. And again, I just mentioned all of the advantages for using an ejector platform over a standard dump truck, the biggest of which, of course, is the fact that, again, you're achieving much, much faster cycle times. You can unload on the move, of course, and again, you can operate in a height-restricted area. So a real-world application for this truck is, say that you need to make a gravel pathway underneath a bridge, and you wouldn't be able to do that with a dump truck, a standard articulated dump truck, because the bed would have to go up, and you couldn't dump the bed up because the bridge is in the way, and you'd hit the bed on the bridge. So tailgate would come down, and you'd unload the gravel on the move like this, and instantly you'd have a path of gravel. So very cool that Diecast Masters has re-released an ejector dump truck, articulated dump truck, and really overall it's a solidly executed model. For the functions, you've already seen how the ejector works. It articulates quite well across the articulation joint. That's about it in terms of functionality besides the ejection mechanism that I mentioned. The tailgate is a die-cast component. It's not plastic. In fact, most everything, I would say 95% of the total casting is die-cast. The only things really that aren't are the rubber tires, the hand and grab rails, the mirrors, the exhaust, and the cylinder. Those are all plastic. However, this part of the cylinder, the most crucial part, that is metal. So with repeated use and care, you're not going to break this model. So that's really good to see. For the smaller details, you have nice CAT decals and lights. You also have the CAT decal here, your 740B EJ, and there I don't believe there's any decals here. There's no lights or anything painted on the rear. But you do have working suspension on this truck, and that's helped by these springs that you can see right there. The tires also have a very realistic tread pattern, and if we look underneath the truck, there's never too much detail paid to the chassis of these trucks, and quite honestly, I'm okay with that because not many of us collectors display our trucks flipped over. So, there you have it. So this is already a very good model, if I'm being honest. However, if Diecast Masters were to re-release a ejector articulated dump truck, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the 740, but so, for example, in the real world, as again, many of you are familiar, but some of you aren't, CAT has decided to drop the letter designations in all of their trucks. So in the real world, this truck is still being made as just the 740 EJ. They've just dropped the B. So if Diecast Masters were to release a updated casting of this as, for example, the 740 EJ, I would like to see the addition of a beacon light, at least mud flaps ahead of the rear wheels, and some warning decals and some tie-down decals. Just those simple additions would be very easy to do, and they add a lot to any model, especially the immersion factor. There you go, guys. That is a review of the Diecast Masters Caterpillar 740B EJ articulated dump truck in 1:50 scale. As I mentioned, it's a very good model. With just some subtle changes, it can be a great model, and it's certainly a unique piece to add to your articulated dump truck collection. If you guys have any further questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, take care, be safe, have a happy holidays, and we'll see you in the next video review.